Thank you very much for this multidimensional perspective on the figure of the Madonna and how was the syncretism connected with her symbols. So I open the floor for some discussion. Katja.
Well, I have to jump on the term syncretism because it's, to me, it often appears to be some sort of pollution of the real thing, something, the pure real thing, which is a construction. So I'm a bit maybe wary of using syncretism to describe this phenomena like that, and I encounter my own research. So I liked the way you described it, mentioning sort of hybridity. I think it's maybe more. It's a better, because syncretism is like something to fight against, and it's difficult to emancipate the term from its theological context and then use it, because maybe we could also say that Panchamama is also the Virgin Mary. So. So showing an image of the Virgin Mary is Panchamama.
I agree.
So that's why your case at the beginning was so interesting, because she maybe the person who I don't know, wanted the Pope to bless. It was not it was Panchamama, but it was the Virgin Mary. Really, I think that. That's very.
No. The term, the word syncretism is quite dangerous, because it can also be seen as something in a very I don't know how to say, good and ironic sense. I mean, it was fantastic because a new religion was born, and obscuring the violent side of the story. And that's why syncretism is a dangerous term. Yes, I agree.
Okay, thank you.
Any question?
Well, maybe following Katja's intervention, I would like to know what is your position, let's say. Maybe it's something specific about the process of religious conversion in the Andes. But I think the discussion could expand to other contexts, and this is about how Andean Catholicism was built, and we have these two opposed perspectives of scholars. One group saying, Andean Catholicism is some kind of reinvention, total reinvention of the Andean world in the Catholic terms, that were in fact promoted from the very beginning and persecuted after the Council of Trent. I mean the Council of Lima, that is a translation of the Council of Trent to South America. So we have that position saying, nothing has left from the beginning. Catholicism is like promoting a new worldview, a new Andean worldview, while the other perspective would emphasize the aspect of hybridity, mestiçage, or even syncretism. Your position seems to be in a way in between. Am I wrong, or it's a reinvention and there are also continuities?
Yeah, I think that it's not possible to be in one part on the or on the other, because I think it's clear that something happened, and we cannot see, we cannot consider indigenous peoples just as passive receivers of a Catholic message. There are a lot of historiography on this. For example, Juan Carlos Estensoro. There was an agency and resistance as well, and so but as I was saying before, this is not to deny the violent side of the process, because, for example, the campaign for the extirpation of idolatry was a very violent phenomenon. But the resistance, the cultural resistance of the Indians, of the indigenous I don't know. I don't know so much about non-Andean regions of South America, so you can tell me more about, for example, Paraguay or.
There is no problem of huacas in the lowlands because this problem of idolatry that doesn't exist. The problem there are the shamans, but there is no materiality as in the Andean world where these figures
the
are.
problem of materiality is quite important because there is a historiography which says that European modernization was built on demagification, on Entzauberung, Max Weber. And so that's a problem for Catholicism applied in South America with all this materiality. But I think that is quite. These connections are really, really impressive. I mean, the fact that the Virgin was associated with Pachamama, I think, is very visible. It's very evident.
Yeah, continuing this discussion, which is really interesting, I was curious to know if in the Propaganda Fide collection they have Pachamama action, and if there is a difference between hiding materiality you might get somewhere in a specific collection in Rome, or exposing it to the public where it might be get stolen. So I was curious to know about the kind of framing you need for this different materiality. And then I have another question which goes also maybe in the same direction as well what Guillermo was asking before. I was curious to know, I mean, we kind of might tend to comparing all these different areas to find similar lines, but we might as well find very specific elements. And I was curious to know your point of view about the importance of purity for the Iberian colonial land. I mean, purity is so important for this specific place. I mean, Spain is kind of built on this idea of who is pure and who is not pure. And so the question would be, is that something they imported, or is there a similar idea about purity in this Andean society already before the arrival, or is it just impossible to think about it? I was just curious to know what your thoughts are about that.
Okay, for the first question, I don't know if Propaganda Fide has statues in the collections of it can be, and in 2019 it was a synod on the Amazon, so it was brought to Rome in order to be blessed, and they wished to be blessed. And purity, yes, purity it's a very Hispanic, I would say, obsession. Limpieza de sangre, no? The concept of purity. And I was very interested when Guillermo was reading that passage about mujeres sucias, no? Dirty women, so dirty and smelly, and it is quite interesting from the perspective of purity. I don't know whether the indigenous cultures there was something similar. I don't think so, but I'm not specialized. I'm not an ethno-historian, so I don't know. Maybe I don't know if you know something about something similar to the concept of purity in indigenous cultures.
So you presented three main images of the Virgin. The pregnant Virgin, then you had the second image was the triangular Virgin, the mountain Virgin, and then this one, which is the conception of Mary and the birth of Mary herself, right?
The nativity, yes.
Virgin, the
Cerro de Virgen de Copacabana, sì, Peña de Francia.
And this one is a black Virgin.
Yes.
So you didn't elaborate on the Black Virgin. I know that there is literature on this. But it seems that the Black Virgin and the Triangular Virgin are really probably in the mind of the indigenous faithful, and the indigenous or mestizo intellectuals may be more closer to some of their cultural ideas. What about the pregnant one?
Okay, we always have to think that there were not only Indios in Peru, because there were black people, a lot of black people, slaves. And for example, slaves. For example, the cult, the devotion to San Benedetto il Moro, migrated from Sicily to the New World. He was black, was African, an African slave. And so the religious orders had to care also the black population, the black people, not only the Indians. It's quite interesting. I did not analyze this because maybe for the written version, if there would be any, the fact that Poma de Ayala, who was Indio, he was indigenous, even though I mean, he wrote Spanish, and so he was acculturato, no? Took the example of a black Madonna. And I don't know exactly. It is something that I could on which I could do further researches. I don't know. But the other question was,
the question was the pregnant figure. It's transported from Europe. You show two images that are from the New World, where actually the pregnancy is not so visible. But
no. These are Spanish examples that they were not transported.
So I thought the last one.
No.
Okay.
No.
So
the triangular Madonna is the typical form.
So what about the
pregnancy?
Pregnant Madonna?
I did not find in the New World.
To the New World.
No.
So
it's strange. Yes.
I also a question. I'm just curious if you have any evidence how was the reception in terms of practice. So if there was a worship like a culto mariano or something.
Yes.
And how is the representation nowadays of Mary? So, for example, I don't know, in India, Mary is still represented in a lotus flower and in meditation, full of...
Still nowadays, the form is triangular because, for example, the first image, this one, the statue, this is the Corpus Christi procession in Cusco. And the form is always something like a triangle, so rich in decorations, and it's always like that. But the pregnancy, I did not see any of pregnant Madonnas in the New World. Maybe there are, and I have to to verify. But so the cult for the Virgin Mary is very.
And it was already in the 16th century.
Yes. It's one of the first devotions transmitted to the New World, and also the Immaculate Conception. From the very moment the Spaniards arrived in the New World, they erected statues or chapels to the Immaculate Conception. From the very moment, first moment.